We're back, guys. Next thing you want to do is remove the knob. This thing here pops off from the sides. And you just pull this piece right here, just pulls right off. It's a whole unit. This piece stays on there. I was trying to get that off, but it stays on. This just pulls right over. It'll give you access to the screws. 1, 2 here, 2 up under this, which I'm about to get out. And there's 2 back here. We'll get access to here in a minute. Once you get all 6 screws out, 2 here, 1, 2, 2 here, 1, 2, 2 here, 1, 2. Then you can go ahead and lift this right out. It comes right out. You want to lift this piece right over that. Slide it over while you're doing it. All right, here we go. Get this out. If you got the center console removed, you just leave this attached, pop it off. 4 screws here. 1, 2, 3, 4 for the shifter plastic housing. Next step, you want to remove the full bolts holding the shifter knob in. 2 in the back here. There's going to be 2 in the front over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 there, 2 there. Put the bolts off. Move on down here. Got one off there. Just got one holding it here. 14 millimeter. We'll get that off. Got the housing bolts all loosened, ready to come off. I think there's 2 left just holding them on. We'll get those off and we'll pry the transmission off. Get the jack underneath it over here, all ready to go. Get back to you. Here we go. Sorry for the angles, it's kind of hard getting good shots under this car. Yeah, there you go. Next thing you want to do is remove these clamps from the side of the transmission. You look right up here next to the mount. Right there's a little hole. It came right out of here. Basically, it's gonna go like this actually. Basically, you just flip it up all the way like that, and just pull it out. Use a screwdriver, flip the edge, pull out both sides, and release it from the housing here, from the shifter. And right there, if you look, you're gonna pull that pin, release the shifter from the housing there, and release it from the transmission once you pull that pin. So we'll pull the pin, get the shifter released from the transmission, and we'll start pulling the transmission. What we gotta do is we take off these 2 bolts here. I think I got them all off actually. This baby's ready to come out. Or no, yeah. Alright, we'll move the pin, we get back, get the transmission out. Here we go. 2 pins on top, 1 pin in the back. So we have all the bolts off the transmission housing. I'm gonna use my jack with the board. Do-it-yourself jack stand right there. I'm gonna jack it up, wedge it out, pry it out. Here we go. Stay tuned. Another pro tip, if you're having trouble getting it off from the bottom, I came to the top and you look, this side's a fatter gap. So what you want to do is just stick it in the side that's a little less open. Let's try to pry that side open. Let's go, here we go. There it goes. Coming right off. Looks like that's it. I'm gonna lift up a little bit on the bottom. That's it. Transmission out. 6 looks like 12 or 10 millimeter bolts. 6 of them around the outside of the pressure plate here to get that out. Transmission right there. Check out the old throwout bearing. Stuck on there if you look. Doesn't want to move. There we go. Yeah, that's probably the problem right there. I think it's stuck on there. Move it all. Alright, we'll get that back on there, get a new throwout bearing. You listen to this sound shot. Alright, here we go. Next step, remove 8 flywheel bolts. Take flywheel off. Here we go. Once you got the flywheel plate off, you're going to want to get off your throwout bearing and your fork. Take it out, you just pull it right out. Inspect the pivot ball. Seems to be doing okay. We'll grease that. We'll grease on spline with some high temperature lithium grease, just a little bit as needed. Let's get the new throwout bearing on. Here we go. Oh, flywheel's out. definitely not easy to torque those bolts out. Alright, here we go. One more thing while you're down here. You'll probably want to clean everything off with some gum out inside the bell housing, all the debris from the old clutch, and all up there as well inside the motor. Clean off all dirty old, you can see it just caked up in there, old clutch residue, and the old clutch burning up. You can smell it too, it just smells like crap, burnt brakes. The old clutch right there, I'll show it to you in a minute. Here's the bad throwout bearing. You hear that? Shouldn't be making that noise. Look at this one, it doesn't even move. It's in there so tight. Alright, just place it. Okay, we're gonna take a little petroleum jelly. Got the new throwout bearing in. There's the old one. There's the new one. Alright, so flip this over. You want to put some petroleum jelly in that hole along this wire, and that's pretty much it. Just what as needed. Just like that. Just a little bit. Wipe off all the excess. Next step, you'd want to get your bearing in the flywheel. I already did that. I got a video on it, you can check. Next step, get the flywheel in the car. Get on a new pair of gloves that are clean. You don't want to touch the disc, the silver part of the disc here where it meets the clutch, or it'll cause chatter or slippage and it won't work well. So touch the black part if you gotta touch anything. And if you do touch it, wipe it off and clean it with brake cleaner, and wipe it off the rag. We'll get back to you. Here we go, let's get that installed. 8 bolts. Next step, you're going to take some of your grease here and just apply it lightly to the spindle and to the bearing housing. Bearing's gonna go on top of. Alright, and grease the pivot nut, the pivot ball as well. Yep, I'll do it right now, get back to you. Okay, flywheel's installed, all the bolts are torqued down, ready to go. We'll get the clutch plate on there now. Next thing you want to do is get your clutch and your spindle tool and install it into the flywheel. Got it installed, make sure the riding is facing upwards, like so. There we go, just like that. Make sure the dowel's all the way inserted. Once you got the flywheel, clutch plate, the pressure plate on, remove your dowel. There you go, just like that. Yeah, baby. Pro clutch. Clutch Max Pro. Looking nice. Stage 2. Beautiful. We're back. Got the transmission on. Exhaust pipe. Axle's back on. Hooked up in the back. Ready to go. One little tip I have for you guys. I was sitting here for about an hour last night trying to get this transmission on and could not get it to go. Would not slide in easy. It should just go in real easy when you get it flush. Should only take a couple minutes. One pro tip that helped me if you're having the same problem is grab the lever on the shifter, which goes the transmission down here, and switch it into gear, and with the axle out you could twist the axle shaft here in the back of the transmission and get the spindle inside the clutch spindle to move. So what's happening is the spindle from the transmission is not lining up with the clutch female spindle hole. So if you just move this a little bit, it'll make it to where it'll line up, and you should just slide right in. As soon as I did that, it slid in real easy, so hopefully that helps you too. Got everything else put back together, and yeah, I'm gonna move on to the shifter. Back onto the shifter, so this middle tab here, this bracket's gonna be facing up, and the rubber from the shifter is gonna go underneath this middle face once you get it on there. Install the foam piece on top of the middle. We're back, so we got the center console installed. reinstalled 2 bolts there, 2 screws here, and 2 screws there. Get the shifter back on. We'll put the little piece that goes over it first, actually, then get the shifter on. That should be it. We'll start her up and see what happens. Here we go. So we're back here with the BRZ. Can't figure out how to get this thing to go into reverse. I'm sure you guys can, but it does work now the clutch is in. We can go for a little test drive. You guys ready? Here we go. So this baby's nice too. Here we go. Not bad, huh? So we can get in the second real fast. Ready to go. Hope that helps you guys. Enjoy.